You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
In true Trump fashion, President Donald Trump ignored his Attorney General's public request to stop tweeting about the Justice Department, saying he had the legal right to ask the agency to intervene in a criminal case, but so far has chosen not to. Attorney General William Barr said in an interview with ABC News that Trump's tweets were making it impossible to do his job, especially following the department's handling of the sentencing recommendation for Trump ally and confidant Roger Stone. Joining me to talk about this is today's panel: Howard University Department of Political Sciences Dr. Niambi Carter, attorney and community activist Christopher Bruce, and communications strategist Kelly Bethia. In breaking news, AG Barr has assigned an outside prosecutor to look into the criminal case against Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. This is highly unusual and could trigger more accusations of political interference by top Justice Department officials into the work of career prosecutors. Flynn agreed to a plea deal on a charge of lying to investigators in exchange for his cooperation before the Washington office took over the case when the special counsel shut down after concluding its investigation into Russia's election interference. Well, panel, there's a lot going on today. Obviously, President Trump seems to be on a vindictive streak against all those who he feels has wronged him, particularly looking back at the Russia investigation and probe, all the way to what we now see with his recent approach to the Supreme Court. And there are a few questions that are, that are bubbling under the surface. First of all, we just saw what happened with Roger Flynn and Stone. What do you guys think? And I'm going to start with you, Kelly. Is the impetus behind all of this? Why can't Trump stop tweeting? There have been arguments that he can't get out of his own way, that a lot of this is literally brought on by the fact that he is using Twitter as his bully pulpit.
I mean, we've seen this for the past, 4 years at this point. I'm talking even before his presidency. He is a bully. Thoroughly a bully. And not only that, he's a narcissist. So it doesn't matter what anybody says to him, about him, through him, for him, whatever. If he feels that he's right, there's nothing that's going to prevent him from doing what he feels is right. And for him, he feels like, tweeting is his whole First Amendment right and free speech and all of that. And you have an entire, conglomerate of people out here in America who actually are, behind him. So he really doesn't have a reason to stop. He has his cult following. He has his yes men in the White House. He has his yes men in the executive branch, and we're seeing that this week as well. Everything that could possibly, give him the other side of the consciousness, it doesn't exist. And the people who try disappear. I'm not talking about death or whatever, but they're no longer in a position to rectify the situation, and that's in large part due to his narcissism, due to cronyism and other nepotism going on in the White House. And he doesn't see why he should stop. And based off of the actions of everybody around him, just objectively speaking, I don't see why he should stop either. I mean, there's no incentive for him to do so.
And Dr. Carter, is Trump's executive branch becoming too powerful? We see that he's now getting heavily involved in the judiciary and making decisions there as well and being able to pull back a lot of the strings like the puppeteer behind what's going on. What does that mean for our country?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things we've been talking about after this impeachment process is the way he understands the office. He sees this as the imperial presidency. So he sees himself as sort of a petite king, so that anything he wants to do is okay. And he has folks like A.G. Barr and Alan Dershowitz and all these others who will argue that because he has executive privilege, that anything goes. And his tweet said as much when he said, I haven't asked him to do anything, but it's not beyond my purview to ask him to do something about these criminal investigations, talking about Attorney General Barr. I'm not sure that Attorney General Barr is so bothered about the tweets as he is about the fact that he looks like Donald Trump's lackey, for lack of a better term. That the idea that he is supposed to be working for the justice of the entire nation, not just working for Donald Trump and his friends like Roger Stone and Michael Flynn, seems to be the thing that he cares more about than actually doing something different, because he's been in lockstep with Donald Trump this whole time and coming up with legal justifications for all manner of things. I mean, moving people around in the office. I mean, I think there are all kinds of things that Attorney General Barr is doing that this tweet, this whole nonsense about being bothered that is making his job difficult, when he's proven that he's sort of okay with using his office to help further the president's agenda, which is supposed to be like a firewall between those two things.
No, I think I definitely agree with you there, because to your point, what we've seen thus far is AG Barr not necessarily separate himself from this office. Right. He has stepped into a lot of situations that specifically at the direction of the president. So to see him now come out and try to calm down President Trump on Twitter is very interesting. I think that, again, to your point, it points more to him understanding that America is watching.
Yes.
And that him taking these directives specifically from the president is something that is under a microscope now, considering what we've just seen with the impeachment process. But also, we have to remember this is an election year, yes, and everything is being seen from a different lens right now. Absolutely. And I don't think that AG Barr, even though he's probably still taking all of his direction from the president, wants the American public to know just how in lockstep he is, or at least not have those directives being given via the internet on a daily
Absolutely.
basis. We want to get you in here a little bit, Chris, as well. I know that you're also an attorney. When we're talking about the limits that should be at the executive branch, particularly as it relates to the judiciary, we just saw several prosecutors actually step down. That's a huge deal. What does that mean, and what can we look for going forward for not only this administration, but just how people look at this branch?
Well, you're exactly right there. The President of the United States is the President of the United States, and the Department of Justice is under the President of the United States and the executive branch. The problem that's happening here, though, however, is that previous presidents have typically respected the Department of Justice to let them do what they do. And that is to make sure that the people of the United States have faith in our judicial system. So with the president interfering with this, now people are really questioning, is justice really being served? So you have, and I know no one on this panel is surprised about what this president is doing, but the lack of integrity that's happening is actually alerting people like Barr and saying, this has gone too far. And I'm one of the type of people of encouraging President Trump to continue to tweet, because it is another way of telling people this is what you elected. So on both sides, make sure he does not get reelected, and on that side, he's just going to get worse. So elections have consequences, and we're seeing them play out now.
But I think his followers like this.
That's what I was saying.
That's the scary part about it.
I don't think they're bothered. I think they actually do think that he should be doing more of this and sort of expanding the role. Now, they only like it when it's their guy. Because the truth is, once you set these precedents, it's hard to put that genie back in the bottle. So if there's another president that's of a different administration, of a different party, and you don't like it, you've now set the precedent that the president can kind of do whatever he wants.
And what he's done very chiefly, I think, is create enemies of these specific branches. When you're trying to remain this hierarchical power and you're moving towards a dictatorial regime in a lot of ways, what you want to do is eliminate anybody who can put a check on you. And I think that this president has done a really good job of either, shaming those who are actually doing their jobs, removing them, shifting things around, trying to raise the ire in the public's eye around why you should not have faith in these specific government institutions, and leaving it all within himself.
But what's interesting when you say the different branches of government basically being enemies of Donald Trump, with the DOJ, that is his branch. He's making an enemy out of an agency under his branch, the people who are supposed to be, working with him. So that's what's really interesting about this. But also, frankly, Donald Trump is just doing what he said he was going to do. Only in his head, he's doing what he said he was going to do. And I don't think people forget or forgot about the whole message of draining the swamp. That always stuck out to me in 2016, the whole notion of draining the swamp. But in reality, he created a swamp.
But what you said, though, was really key. He views the Department of Justice as not working with him, but working for him. And that's not exactly, they're in the executive branch to help him administer the government.
Exactly.
They don't work for him.
Exactly.
They work for the United
States.
Because,
when people take civics and,
well, I know, it's very
That's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be,
right.
But it's clear that he didn't.
But I mean, he also totally misrepresents the Constitution.
Absolutely.
I mean, Congress comes first, then it's the president, then it's the judiciary, and I think that's on purpose. But he is trying to assume more and more power in his office, not just in the executive branch, because I think he could say to hell with these other administrative agencies.
Absolutely.
It's all about being in his office, and I think that's really key.
So again, are we surprised though?
Oh,
We are seeing
not surprised,
the
but-
tales of a dictator.
He said this is what he was going to
He's
do.
continuously
Yes,
doing.
absolutely.
Right.
This
So it's just going to continue down this way until there gets to a point, and I don't know what that point
I don't
is because I
either.
thought we reached that point several times before.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Join Dr. Jackie Hood Martin as she engages others to think like a leader. Are you looking to enhance your leadership or that of your team in 2020? Join our newest online course and mastermind group, How Successful People Think. She will be your guide as you learn timeless leadership principles to apply to daily living. Offer expires February 28th, 2020. Register for or start the online course today at www.live2lead.com/Leesburg.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.